Hi, Zorp is an easy way to build native apps for your internal teams. Let's say you have a warehouse and you want to create a picking app for your pickers. Now, how does an app like that look? So the person will have a picking task. They open the task, look at the list of items that need to be picked. So I'm going to open each item and say what is the quantity I'm picking it up. Open the second item, choose the quantity that I'm picking. Now once I've picked all the items that need to be picked, click on drop, go to the dispatch bay, mention the name of the bay and hit complete. So my picking task is done. Now let's see how you can create a simple app like this on Zorp in the next 5 minutes. To start with, let's design the workflow. Workflow consists of a series of mobile app screens and the transition between them. If you remember, our flow had 3 screens. So one for pickup, second is for drop, and we need one more as a completed step. Okay, and these happen one after the other. So now our basic blueprint is ready. Now let's open each of these screens and start designing the UI. You can design the UIs very easily on Zorp using the UI components that are available on the left. So first I'm going to add an instruction. Done. Now I can also rename this particular step. Alright. Now it's time to add the list of the items. So for this, I'm going to use the list component. Now before we show the list of items, we need to get these list of items as an input for the pickup task. So how do we do that? We can do that by creating a data field. So each Zorp workflow comes with its own database. You can access the database by clicking on configure data fields. You can see that there are system level data points that are already available, which we can use in our application. But we can also create custom data points based on our needs. So I'm going to create a new data field. I will call this picking list. I'll choose the data type as list. So list is a complicated composite data type which can have multiple other data points internally. For example, if you want to pick up, let's say 5 items from a warehouse, you might want to call the name of the item. We'll probably call this item name. You have something like a quantity, so which could be a number. So what is the quantity that I need to pick up? So to be picked. And finally, there is also a quantity I need to know how much am I actually picking up. Alright, so apart from this, I can even add other data fields like images, etc. if I can, or the rack number, the bay number, etc. if it provides additional information. Since this is a simple application, I'm going to leave it as it is. Now there is another option called collect this data field as an input at the time of task creation. So what this states is that the data point, the picking list, is provided as an input to the picking task. So in this case, this needs to come in as an input because the picker needs to know what items to go and pick up. So I'm going to choose this option and finally I hit create. Now I have the data field that is created. I can use this in my application. So now we can reopen the screen. In the list, I can choose that the list data comes from the picking list data field. Alright. Now I can start designing the UI of this list. So instead of heading, I'll probably use the item name. Call this. I can open the database, open the picking list and say whatever is the item name, show the item name over here. Similarly, I can also show the quantity. Say to be picked. I can choose the quantity and I can also choose the quantity for how much is actually picked. Done. So this is how our list will actually be displayed. Now let's also add a configuration on how a person can use this list. So you change the list name is picking list on each item below to edit. Alright, now we don't need to provide a provision to add items to the list. but we do need to provide a provision where people can edit the list items, and we don't need delete. So let's see how the person can edit each item by clicking on it. So to do that, we can click on configure edit list page. So here we can show, enter the picked up quantity, and I can show the item name, and I can also show the quantities to be picked up. And I can collect the number of quantities that are actually picked up. And I can save this data. Oops, I already have a data field. So I can save this data to the picked quantity data field. All right. So now my pickup screen is fully ready. So let's move on to the next one. So this cannot be called complete. This is basically a drop state. So we'll call this drop, and we can open and design the drop screen. Call this bay drop. And we'll say drop the I can collect the bay information as a text input. And I can save this to a data field. I don't have one already, so I'm going to create a new data field called bay details. Done. So let's move on to the third one. So we'll probably call this complete. And we'll call this pickup completed. Well done. And here I can show the list of items. So I choose the same data field, picking list. I can not give any option to delete, add, edit. It's just for display. And I can show the list of items over here. All right, and finally we'll also show the bay where it is deposited. Cool, our app is fully ready now. Now, apart from simply creating the app, we also have the ability to push the data that we have collected to any external system. So we can do that by choosing any particular transition, choosing actions, and add a REST API action to push the data to any external system like your ERP, inventory management system, a CRM, even Airtable or Google Spreadsheets, right? So this is completely possible. So we'll ignore that given that we are building this simple application. So once this is done, we'll just name our application. All right, and we're going to hit publish. Once I hit publish, the app is instantly live. Now, in order to test it, I can create a task and assign it to a user to test this. So to create a task, click on create task. We can choose the inventory picking app, select the team, and select the user in the team who can actually test this. And I need to provide the picking list as an input for this task. So I create a new item, call this table, probably 20 items, and I also want to pick, chair, which is 30 items. So once I've provided these inputs, I can hit create. Now the task will get created and assigned to the respective user. Now it's time to test the app. So we have the task assigned. Click to open the task. Click on each item. enter the quantity that is picked up, click on chair. The quantity picked up is, let's say, 35. Now once I've picked up all the items, I move to the drop stick, enter the bay number, bay 35, and I hit complete. So now the picking is fully done, and we're able to create this full-fledged native inventory picking app in the last 5 minutes. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you for listening.